Hey guys, it's Dan and Travis. Travis is over there. We're heading into the ranch. Cabin on 360. Mr. Dennis is over here. He's gonna give us a little walkthrough and tour, a little brief history. Recorder on. On top of the fireplace. So what can you tell us about this, Dennis?
Well, this is the brick rancher at the cabin on 360. We do not have an exact build date, but the guess is roughly in the later 60s. So when the property was purchased, there's 7.2 acres. Jones Construction and Realty bought in July of 1978. This rancher was already here, but it did not show up on a survey plat. There was a new survey plat entered in May of 1979 showing a footnote on the bottom just to show the location of structure, and it's this building. So this has been a private residence up until roughly the early 80s, and it's always just been tenants. Then it became commercial property for offices. There's been telephone marketing companies in here. There's been most recent was an insurance agent. But the most critical point on the property would be October 4th, 1979. The family that was here then was the Elliott family. They were a blended family. There was 17-year-old Randy Lynn Elliott, black male, and 12-year-old Melissa Carol Elliott, who was a white female, and the parents. We don't know the races on those two. But the morning of Friday, October 4th, 1979, between 7:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., Randy raped and murdered Melissa in this first room here with 2 gunshots to the chest, 38 caliber revolver that he had stolen within the previous couple of weeks from a home burglary nearby.
That was stolen.
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously, now we know the times because Mom and Dad had left for work about 7:30. She was a 7th grade student right up the block here, about a quarter mile at the elementary school. Some of her classmates could see all the police tape and everything around the property, so they knew there was a problem, they just didn't know what. But the reason we know 7:30 to 10:30, there were construction workers came out to do some clearing and grading out back so they could park like storage trailers and things like that. And they found a refrigerator box. Well, they assume it's just an empty box, so they're going to drag, a lightweight cardboard box off to the side out of their way. And that's when they found her body in it.
Wow.
The newspaper article reports that, quote, her partially clothed body was found in the refrigerator box in the back of the property. Obviously, the police were called, Hanover County Sheriff's Department. Manhunt was undertaken at that point. They discovered 1.5 miles away a vehicle had been stolen. The description of the individual seen in that area matched Randy's description, so they called off the manhunt and just put an APB on the East Coast. 3 days later, he was found in Lumberton, North Carolina, stealing another car.
Oh, wow.
He was held there for detectives from the local department to go down and interview him. He never disputed the charges alleged against him. Didn't fight extradition. Pled guilty to a lesser charge and agreed to a life without parole sentence versus the death penalty that they were actively seeking. So he's still serving his time.
Yeah, I was going to say he's still serving.
And at this point, he's, I believe, 56 years old. And he's less than an hour away from here.
No parole.
No parole.
Been there for life.
No, he will spend the rest of his life in prison. So he'll die an inmate. So some of the EVPs that we've got tying to that, one of the questions that I asked simply, are you the dark energy that caused Randy to rape and murder his own sister? And we got a Class A deep gruff yes.
No, was that in this room?
That was, I don't remember exactly where I asked. It might have been in that bedroom.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly where I was when I asked that one. Then when Twisted Paranormal Society came in and filmed their episode of the Twisted Realm here, Tana asked the question, and I don't recall where she was in the building. She asked the question, why did you do that? And that same deep, gruff voice responded, the violence.
Same voice and everything.
Hissing S
Yeah.
on the end of it. So, we don't know what's here. I don't want to be the little boy that cries, demon, demon, demon.
You just aren't sure. I mean,
We've got drawings of what has been seen here, and we have a thermal image.
I did see that one.
That both look the same.
Yeah.
It's not a human entity, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But I do have a friend that I sent both of those the drawing and the thermal image to, and she studies demonology, and she pulled one of her books from 1901, and there is a image in that book that very closely resembles what's been drawn and thermal image captured here. So is it a demon? I don't know. Is it an elemental? Is it a demon? Is it?
But there's something.
Yeah. It's not like I can ask it for its identification card and positively identify it.
Right.
But I'm kind of the belief if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's probably a damn duck.
Yeah. Now, can you show us where the little girl saw it was in the basement where she drew it?
In the basement.
You want to go down there?
Yeah. So we do a lot of charity events out here, like Toys for Tots, and we did, just a few weeks ago, we did a fundraiser for a Crohn's disease warrior.
Somebody down there?
Wow.
We shut that when we came back up. Are the lights still on?
Yeah. Lights on, doors are open.
I don't remember I didn't turn the light on for sure.
Huh.
Hey, asshole, we're coming down.
There you go. That's the way to introduce yourself.
He doesn't like me. They've captured Evie. Oh, like.
Where?
What is it?
Snake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he's coiled too.
Ooh, is that a black snake? You guys thought we were gonna look for spirits and ghosts. Look at this. Dennis the snake wrangler.
He is pissed too.
Yeah, he is. Whoa. Don't you come over here. Can you tell what kind it is?
Yeah, it's just a black snake.
Oh.
And if I can get him in a good position, I'm going to capture him and throw his ass out the door if you'll unlock that door.
Yeah.
Oh, he is mad.
Catch that head.
When you said black snake, I thought you were talking about the little thing over here. I thought it had gotten me.
Do you have
See if I got
anything?
anything down here to capture his head with.
Here.
There's a broom.
No, that'll work.
Oh, there you go. You're gonna see me. Let me get out of the way. I don't want
I'm
that.
just going to shove him right out that door.
Bye bye. And stay out. Is he going into the hole?
And he crawled up into a crevice. I'm trying to get him to come out enough that I can lift him.
There you go.
Keep going, bitch. Oh, he went right into the wall. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's all right, though. He's outside.
There's a little excitement for you, Travis.
What do you think? I thought he was talking about that thing at first. That's what got me.
Well, we came down here earlier. I saw that. I thought it was a snake, but I was like, that's not a snake. And then he's like, no, over there. Nice. So where?
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
So the young lady was standing about here
Okay.
and said that the image that the whatever you want to call it was standing just on the back side of the steps over there. And let's see if you can get your phone to focus on this, and I'll show you the image that she brought back to us 2 weeks later. So this was, I've got this from December 18, 2016. That's the figure that she said she got. She saw that on the back side of the steps looking back at her.
Wow.
At that point in time, she'd been doing this about 5 years. Her and her dad going to the different public investigations and so forth. You know, so she wasn't new to it.
That's
And
interesting.
then about 6 weeks after she gave us that drawing, we had another team come in with a thermal FLIR 1 attachment. So if you don't know how to read thermal, the red is hot, blue and whites are cold. It tagged one of the concrete cinder block columns here as 59 degrees, the coldest temperature in the room. But my question is, what is that? And if you look closely, you can see what looks like, you know, the odd shape to the back of his head.
It's almost like a glow off of the top. It's interesting.
And you can see the odd shape coming off the back of that
Yeah,
thing's head.
that's very
So
descriptive.
they look a lot alike.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to say, oh, it's a demon, but I don't know what the hell to call it.
Yeah.
So you figure it out. I know one of the most common things, and like I told you last night, pay attention to each other's emotions and personalities in here.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of change made in people. One of my leads, they're rather strong in the field. His wife and daughter investigate with him, and they were leading a group through here. Well, he had 3 pieces of equipment upstairs die, battery drain, short period of time. One of the items that he was using was an SLS camera with a Surface Pro tablet. Should have 4 to 6 hours battery life.
Yeah.
He said when they came down here, it had 78% battery. In 15 to 20 minutes, it was on 0. And he said the really weird part, the woman that was sitting beside him said, I don't know why, but I just feel like I should lean into you and go, ha, ha, ha. And he's like, then the tablet died. He goes, at that point, he goes, I'm not going to lie, I stomped over to the corner like a little pissed off 12-year-old. He goes, my wife and daughter were telling me, you know, it's not that big a deal, it's battery drain, we're used to it. He goes, I've never wanted to lay a hand on my family.
Yeah.
He said, but in that moment, I wanted to punch them both in the mouth and tell them to shut the hell up. He goes, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
So he headed outside. He said he almost ran over a dude in the living room going to the door. He said as soon as he hit the door, he just started bawling. Well, I got yelled at from about halfway up the access road. He was out on the access road beside the cabin, and there was a light rain coming down, and he's on all fours just bawling uncontrollably. And I asked him what was wrong, and he explained the story to me. He goes, I've never felt like that.
Yeah.
So it will target the strong ones, it will target the weak ones. Whatever is here just wants to play in your emotions. So my question that I want answers to is that what got a hold of Randy to cause him to rape and murder his own little half-sister that he's known her entire 12 years of life?
Yeah. That's a good
You know,
question.
did this thing get in his head?
Yeah.
You know, we've had some definitive responses in this building, both to knock requests and EVPs that are just intelligent. In the near 20 years that I've done this, I've had 2 occasions where it's just absolute sheer fear. You know, that moment your blood turns to jello?
Yep.
One was in St. Albans Sanatorium when something in the crossover tunnel from alcohol recovery to the office charged up behind me. And the other was in this building. I walked out of the kitchen and just stepped over that threshold into the living room. And there are 3 big windows there that you can see, you know, just the ambient light, but you can see outside. And I felt that energy charge right up on me, and everything went black in front of me. I took a big step back. Ryan and 2 prospective team members at that time were over by the bathrooms. And I asked him, you know, once I kind of got my shit together, I asked him, I said, where the hell are you? And he said, we're over by the bathrooms. That's when I stepped forward and I told him, don't you ever step up on me like that again. I will invoke my saints. I will bring them in on your ass.
Yeah.
And we heard 3 footsteps go across the hardwood floor in dead silence. So
Very cool.
there is definitely something in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's several somethings.
You gonna be down here by yourself tonight?
We're going to do it. 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Well,
We got
it'll
all
take
night.
A whole hour.
We got all night.
Yeah, he's going to do 30
We
minutes
got plenty
there.
of time.
Yeah. So
Let's see if we get a response.
Whatever's in here, that they usually respond to that.
Quite often.
Okay.
I had a boyfriend and girlfriend with me. They were the last two in the night. And we were sitting in Melissa's bedroom. And I'm sitting on the right side of the window. And they're sitting on the left side. And he was kind of all night, well, I mean, it could be something. But I mean, he was just dismissive of pretty much everything, even the EVPs. And I reached back and knocked on the baseboard and hollered, can you finish that? And underneath us, I heard, and he popped up like someone shoved a cattle prod up his ass. And I'm like, dude, you all right? And he's like, that was right under my ass. I felt that in my ass. And I went,
It's direction towards him.
yeah. I'm like, what do you think of that? It could be something now. He's like, I'm done, man.
Yeah.
And he left the building.
All right, so we'll follow you. We're in the cabin on 360. Dennis again. And Travis.
Jeffrey.
So you lead the way.
So this is the actual cabin for the cabin on 360, hence the name. This was built in 79, 80. We have documentation for the first open house in 1980. This has never been a residential property. It's always been commercial. It was built to be a model home for log cabin sales in the area. Both structures sit on battlefields for the battles of Bethesda Church.
Okay.
1/8 of a mile across the road from us is the remnants of the foundation for the Bethesda Church. That was a Confederate headquarters. 1.5 miles back to our northeast was the Via House, and that was a Union headquarters.
Okay.
So we have no less than 8 crossings between May and June of '64, where the Confederates were after the Union or the Union was after the Confederates. Now we sit 3.1 miles away from Cold Harbor Battlefield. For those that don't know, Cold Harbor Battlefield per capita is the deadliest of the Civil War. It was over an 80% death rate. One Union soldier that survived in his journal entry stated that as we cleared the wood line, we could see nothing but mounds and mounds of earthworks with one lone battle flag perched on top. Then it became a field of smoke and we dropped like a curtain.
Wow.
There's conflicting numbers, but somewhere between 7,000 and 12,000 men died in the first 90 minutes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
That's a
they
lot.
took 7 days to reach a temporary truce before they could recover their dead and wounded from the battlefield. So the men coming through this property were headed there. What was to, well, it was a pocket letter, which would be, the soldier would write a letter home and it was to be stored in his pocket. If his body was found after battle, if he was killed, another soldier would take that letter and make sure it went home.
Okay.
So as a journal entry, a soldier that found this soldier's pocket letter quoted the letter as saying, "This will probably be the last letter home you'll ever receive from me. He sentenced us to an assured death. We've been ordered to Cold Harbor."
Wow.
So these men coming across this land knew what awaited them.
Yeah.
At one point in time, the 10th Virginia or 12th Virginia? I'd have to make sure of that one. But they were moving up Walnut Grove Road, which is 4/10 of a mile up. They got bogged down in the muddy bottom. There were 500 men in the company. Unbeknownst to them, on their attack against the Union was also coming in. with a force of 5,000 strong.
Yikes.
So their 5,000 against that 500, they didn't have good odds.
No.
This is after 2 days of heavy rain. They got bogged down in the mud, and they were literally massacred less than half a mile from this property. The way the land laid at that time, their blood literally would have flowed across our back property.
Wow.
So that gives you a good idea of what we have here. Within a mile and a half of this property, I can account for 2,264 men killed, captured, wounded, or missing in action. It doesn't have good energy at all.
Yeah. Not with that much.
We've had a few of our close friends and teammates do some relic hunting on the property. And there's a large number of relics up here that we've pulled from the property. Union and Confederate bullets, cannonball, shrapnel. Probably one of the most significant ones to me, energy-wise, would be what is left of this brooch. Now, it would have had a hoop that went around over the top and said "Love Always" and showed a man and woman sitting on a bench. A friend of ours, ironically, 3 days, I think, after this was found in our back property, she came back from New Orleans and had been to a Civil War museum down there. Saw this same exact brooch in their case in perfect condition. And amongst the Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri Confederates, it was very popular for them to have it pinned on them by a loved one when they were leaving the war. This was found on our back property. So we know somebody had a lot of personal energy attached to that object, and it was found here. So how much of their energy was left on this property? That's for y'all to figure out.
Yeah, stained in the ground.
Yeah. You should see the bone up.
Yeah, now this, we've had 2 nurses verify that that is a human forearm bone. And if you can zoom in close enough on that front edge, you can actually see the saw marks, the striations from the saw. So I know, I've done my share of hunting. I don't ever remember taking a bone saw out in the woods with me when I go hunting.
No.
Even if I bag a huge one, I'm just going to field dress it, leave the guts there, and carry every piece of bone back with me. So for it to be cut is straight, but they claim that it's the upper portion of the forearm bone. Obviously,
it's like a surgery, maybe?
Yeah,
Something.
obviously something used it for a chew toy.
Yeah.
But if it is a soldier's bone, it's been back here for 160 years. It's no surprise something used it for a chew toy.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got 7 acres. You've got a little over an acre that are used for the 2 structures. So there's 6 acres of woods behind us. We saw last night there are deer back here.
Yeah, he was telling me.
It scared the shit out of him. I thought it was going to take me out. One of my most interesting occurrences in this building, we hosted one of our toy drives here. And by the end of the night, when everybody left, it was 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I had had a few beers. I decided I'm just going to throw a sleeping bag up here. So where you see the small doll now, I threw a small roll-up sleeping bag as a pillow and threw my primary sleeping bag down. Had my little portable speaker plugged in, playing Pandora music. Had my weapon on me. Had laid it up by my left shoulder. When the music died, for no apparent purpose, which you've encountered electronics anomalies, you know, your phone playing videos for no reason, your voice recorder dying for no reason.
Yeah.
My music shut off. So in the dead silence, it woke me up. As I'm kind of clearing my head and opening my eyes up, less than, I would say about 4 feet away from where my head was rested here to the back corner of the chimney stones, there was an old man standing like this, just looking at me. If I were to guess, I would say his clothing and his attire was probably from the 1930s, 1940s. I don't know who he is, and I have no justification for him being here. The closest I can get is the people that this land was acquired from. She attained this property in 1935 as part of a 36-acre tract of land. When her husband passed away, she got the land. She divided this 7.2 acres off to her daughter and son-in-law, who 3 days later sold it to Jones and Company Construction. So my guess would be maybe it's him that I saw.
Yeah.
Now, to validate his existence, we had a young lady came out and explained some of the activity that she had encountered out here while she owned a business in this building. Large, like 3-pound cans of product in the very back room. She had shelving that ran from corner to corner, or window to window in the corner. And she said it was common for 2 days, 3 days a week, big 3-pound cans of product are swept off the shelf onto the floor.
Wow.
Unless she encountered Mighty Mouse,
Yeah.
I don't think the mouse or rodents kicking 3-pound
No.
cans of product off the shelf. But she related a story to me about a near tragedy that took place in this building. She lived just a couple of miles up the road, and she said, I don't know why, but I felt compelled to come here. It was about 4 in the morning. She called her best friend on the way here, told her best friend, hey, I'm kind of in a dark place. I'm going out to the cabin and kind of clear my head and get my shit together, and hung up on her best friend. Her best friend tried to call her back several times with no answer. So her best friend thankfully had presence of mind to call local authorities and ask for a welfare check. But the young lady said that her desk sat against this wall. She came in and sat in her desk chair. She said the strange thing was there was no sense of emotion or sense of time or anything. She just was. She said at some point she got up, walked around the corner past the kitchen sink, grabbed a butcher knife off the kitchen sink, walked into the bathroom. There was a bottle of Xanax on the vanity. She swallowed the bottle of pills, took the butcher knife, slit both wrists, dropped the knife in the sink, stood just like this, and watched the blood run out of her wrist. She said, I don't know how long I stood there, but I finally came back out here. I sat in my chair, hung my arms over the arms of the chair, and let the blood pool out.
Oh, wow.
She said, at some point, I remember standing about here, looking at my body in that chair and seeing the pool of blood on each side. And she said there was an old man standing beside her and an old woman standing beside him. And she said, we just stood there and looked at my body, and at some point he looked at me and said, you know, it's not your time. You have to go back. You're not ready. She said the next thing I remember was a brief conversation with the paramedics and waking up 2 days later in the hospital.
So she had an out-of-body experience.
Yeah. Her heart rate was 43 when the medics got to her. So the question comes in, what drew her here?
Yeah.
Why did she leave her home just a couple miles up the road to come out here and try to take her own life?
Yeah.
Now, is there something in this building, or is there something in that building that commutes to this building?
Yeah.
And influences people's thoughts and emotions like that?
It's definitely possible.
You know, we've caught all kinds of EVPs in this structure, one of which we found out in the latter part of the 80s. In the upstairs back room, apparently they were running a bordello and got raided. Now the odd part is they would bring in males to service the women. But we've got EVPs of a female saying, I'm naked. We've got EVPs that sound like a sex act going on. Ryan captured an EVP in the hallway of a voice just randomly going, I'm God.
Oh, wow. That's a big claim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, somebody trying to really overinflate their ego on it. But that's the oddities that we've caught here. You know, Fife Paranormal was here, and Jake was standing here. His father, Chris, was up on the rail, and they were doing a Facebook Live, and you can see Jake's face totally changed demeanor. And he claimed that he saw a little boy standing right here inside the front door that turned and ran down the hallway. We've had images, well, Ryan and one other teammate from a while back, we were all gathered out here, and they claimed that they saw a figure walk by this window they could see from about the waist up. That window is about 6 feet in the air, so if they saw waist up, this was a 9-10 foot dude that walked by that window. But what did the land look like 150, 160 years
It's
ago?
true.
You know, so we don't know. We've had numerous full-bodied apparitions spotted out in the woods. Several apparitions and shadow figures moving through this structure. Numerous EVPs caught in here.
Okay.
It's just loaded with energy, and the question is, since we know of no tragedies in this structure,
Yeah.
is it the land?
Yeah.
You know, are they drawn here by whatever that little creature is next door, or is it just the land
Yeah.
that holds the energy?
Lots of questions. Very
Every
interesting.
investigation always leads to more questions.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it.
Yeah. I think we're good.
I want to thank you for giving
No
it a tour. And
Yeah, man.
I'm headed off to go lead Haunted Woods.
see you guys in a little bit.